Hey everyone, and welcome to 1.21 Jigowatts. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly movie news show where we talk about movies in development, we talk about casting choices, we talk about premiere dates, and so on and so forth. This is take two of the opening of this because we had a technical error about 10 minutes into the first take. So,
Yeah, I can honestly say, and this is actually true, blame the cats.
assuming what we think caused my blue screen is correct, then yes, the cats would technically be the start of the chain of events that led to that happening, yes.
Yes. For once, I can say it's the cat's fault, and I'm not just being facetious.
Yes. Chain of events started with the cats and ended with possibly my hard drive being disconnected briefly. But there you go. Swiftly on though. So we have 2 weekends of box office to talk about. We start with box office as we always do, and we actually hadn't discussed the second week yet. So the second one will actually still be like a bit of okay. What's the results? The first one we already talked about. So just to fill you in, on the weekend 28th to the 30th of September, we had Night School at number one with 27.2 million. Which cats? Don't you start?
Oh God, not again.
So Connor guessed 22 million, I guessed 17, so we're both a bit low, but Connor takes the win there. Number two was Smallfoot, which I was calling Littlefoot a lot last time. I guessed 19 for that, you guessed 15, and that is... God damn it, cats. Are you shitting me? I'm hitting them.
See, people blame the cats for everything. Everything that's ever gone wrong on this show, every delay, every technical fault, it's all their fault.
Wait a minute. Every delay? Bullshit. You're passing a lot of blame off with that one.
No idea what you're talking about.
I mean, I think the cats are responsible for more delays than I am, but nowhere even close to you. Not even in the same league.
No idea what you're referring to. You've got no proof.
Number two was Smallfoot with 23 million. So we
You
both
did that one.
did we? No, but I didn't tell you what we guessed, did I?
Yeah, you did.
15 and 19. Okay, all right. So I take the point there. Number three was House with a Clock on the Walls with 12.6 million. Number four was A Simple Favor with 6.5 million. Number five was The Nun with 5.4 million. Hellfest, the third film we actually made guesses for, new release, was 5.1 million at number six. I guess 15, wildly overestimating. I thought it's October almost. People are going to see a horror movie.
And I told you, no one cares about Hellfest, and you weren't listening to me.
You still overshot it. You still gave it 9 million.
Yeah, that's still. I would still count 9 in the category of no one really cares.
Regardless, there you go. That's the guesses. Rest of the top 10. Number 7 was Crazy Rich Asians with 4.1 million. Number 8 was The Predator with 3.8 million. Number 9 was White Boy Rick with 2.4 million. And number 10 was Peppermint with 1.7 million. So that was the previous weekend, but that's because we recorded last week's show before the box office came out in terms of results. This past weekend...
There you go. That's the 15 minutes you missed.
In 3 minutes. Which tells you how much tangenting and waffling we had in that first 10-15 minute take.
Yeah.
Good. The show's benefited, I suppose, in a way.
Unless they like the tangent and waffle.
Well, I'm sure there'll be more coming later. They just rushed through that first part because it was the same again. Right, so Venom and Star is Born were the two new releases coming out this past weekend, and we made guesses for those. Venom was number one, much to Connor's dismay.
I know I guessed very low on Venom, and I said at the time I intentionally guessed low because it wasn't a true guess. It was more of a hope of what it wanted it to do.
You guessed 23 million. It made 80.
I know. I'm disappointed.
I'm
not disappointed that I'm wrong. I'm just disappointed that it did well.
Not only that, this weekend was the highest grossing weekend in October history.
Screw you, Venom.
But not just Venom. I mean, I think Venom actually does have the highest grossing opening weekend for October, but I think that combined with the other films made for the highest grossing weekend in general for the box office for an October. So that's kind of big until Halloween comes, baby. It's going to break all the records.
It's not happening. Maybe some horror records, but
it's happening. I'm calling it. So Venom made 80 million. You guessed 23. I guessed 50, which was a more reasonable, although still wildly underneath guess.
Yeah.
So
stand by my guess. I wouldn't change it.
Unfortunately, Venom still made money. I mean, maybe it'll tank next weekend. Word of mouth, all that. Um, I mean, I've heard some people have enjoyed it as a so bad it's good kind of movie because of Tom Hardy's wacky performance. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he's wacky enough.
I've heard a genuine review say it's a fantastic rom-com. Just it's trying to be a Venom movie.
I've also heard, amusingly, because a lot of people say Logan Marshall Green looks like Tom Hardy, that is very similar but not as good as Upgrade, because it's like, someone inside his body talking to him and making him a better fighter, which is amusing. And I saw Upgrade. I liked Upgrade well enough, so I'm good for now. I'm sure I'll see Venom eventually.
Do people really think they look similar?
There are some photos actually. See, when you see them both with short hair and a beard, they do look very similar.
Okay.
Not
because in my mind they don't look anything like each other.
You're thinking of him with long hair though, because you watched Quarry.
Yeah, but everything I've ever seen him in, I've never gone, oh, he looks like Tom Hardy.
Get a Google Upgrade Logan Marshall Green right now and see a photo of him with the short hair and the beard.
Let's have a look.
I don't think I'd mistake them, but I can see why people think they look alike.
No, I'm not seeing it.
All right, whatever. I tried.
I'm even looking at it. It's popped up with an example, and I'm just not seeing it.
All
Sorry,
right.
people.
All right. Number 2 was A Star Is Born, the Bradley Cooper Lady Gaga remake romp thingamajig. We guessed between us. You guessed 27 million. I guessed 24. Both wildly under as well. 42 million this made.
See, that makes me a bit happier because I think that movie actually looks pretty good.
Sure. Not my thing, but I mean, both movies did higher than expectations, so I guess fair play in that sense. Now Sony's going to be convinced that it can make these weird, wacky spin-offs to Spider-Man.
See, I feel about this the same way you did when I think it was last episode that we talked about this with The Nun. How it's like the highest Conjuring movie and they're going to go all in on this shite because they think they can get away with it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about Venom doing this. I'm like, you've just encouraged them to bring back the Aunt May movie, basically.
I don't know if we went that far yet.
Give it a couple more weeks.
That'll take some serious convincing to convince anyone of that, I think. Yeah, I'm being very careful when I touch I move my legs now. Just make sure I don't tap my PC, just in case something bad happens. Anyway, number 3 was Smallfoot, holding relatively well, only 37% drop for its second weekend, 14.4 million. Number 4 was Night School, so that dropped below the previous number 1, and that is 12.5 million. Number 5 was A House with a Clock on Its Walls at 7.3 million. Number 6 was A Simple Favor with 3.4 million. Number 7 was A Nun with 2.7 million. What's that worldwide at now? I want to depress myself.
Too much.
What's the Nun at? I want to see.
Why did you do this to yourself?
347 million. Come on, people. Don't see shit.
People have no taste, do they?
Don't see shite movies. Come on.
Just as a rule, people, the public.
No, number 8 was Crazy Rich Asians with 2.1 million. Number 9 was Hellfest with 2 million. So that dropped almost 60%, even though it started at 5 million.
That's rough.
Number 10 was The Predator with 947,000.
But hang on, so this is that shows you just how strong Venom and A Star Is Born have been. If this is the highest October weekend ever, and we're under 1 million in the top 10.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. What I thought was really interesting, though, I noticed this week, is that on Box Office Mojo, sometimes it'll do like the comparisons on the front page, and you'll just see like a comparison. They compared The Predator to Predators for, I think it was the 25-day gross domestically.
Right.
And what was amazing is they were almost the exact same figure. There was a couple of 100,000 between them. It was like eerie. It was like, is this just what a Predator movie makes? Like, there's just no up or down. It's just, it'll always make this exact amount, and that's it.
Except, this is worse because of inflation.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
Just in terms of tickets sold.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. But then people have to buy more expensive tickets, so I mean the motivation to go to the movie is stronger. So I mean you could argue you're breaking even.
Maybe.
How many people do you know in your life that just never go to the movies because they think it's too expensive?
Quite a lot.
Yeah. It's a very common thing nowadays. It's just a thing. But hey, so that is the weekend's box office. Now, what do we have to guess for next week? I'm sure we have a couple of goodies because I'm looking forward to one of the movies coming out, especially. Actually,
we got weekend 2 of Venom, if nothing else.
well, weekend 2 of Venom, I think, is well worth discussing. But we have 3 other things to guess, so we've got 4 things to guess in total.
Could you tell me what I guessed last week for Venom?
You guessed 23 for Venom.
23 million for Venom on week 2.
I still think that's too low.
So do I, but
Sadly,
I'm going with it anyway.
But I think it's too low. Anyway,
I agree, it's probably too low. But comedy value. That's what I'm here for.
Alright, you're guessing 23 for Venom. The other films we're guessing for are Bad Times at El Royale, which I'm looking forward to immensely.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Goosebumps 2.
That's already?
Uh-huh. And then the 4th one is First Man. That is the Chazelle astronaut film.
The one that I'm most looking forward to out of the 3.
Although
I'm quite happy to watch all 3, honestly.
I don't really care about Goosebumps, but I think First Man's probably going to be solid. Bad Times at El Royale, those are the one I'm looking forward to because Drew Goddard is writing and directing it, and he did he directed Cabin in the Woods, he wrote The Martian, and of course he worked on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer Once Upon a Time.
Yes, he's very good.
Yes,
but I prefer Chazelle.
That's fine. Anyway, you guessed 23 for Venom. I'm going to guess 35. I think it'll just be over half of a drop.
See, that's more realistic, but like I said, comedy value.
Bad Times at El Royale. This is an interesting one because I think this is going to be a very good movie, but it's not a huge, AAA release.
I don't think it's got a huge pull to it.
I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say a solid 22.
Yeah, I'm thinking around that region. I'm going to go slightly lower and go 19.
I think you'll win that one. I feel we're going to be disappointed with that.
Yeah, I think realistically we're going to get like a 15 to 16.
Goosebumps 2. It's a brand name, but I feel like there's no buzz for it. I feel like no one cares.
Yeah, I know the first one was pretty good. I don't know how it performed box office wise. I don't remember, but that had like Jack Black going into it.
Well enough for that crazy Sony to greenlight a sequel.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
yeah, that has no Jack Black. There's no star power, at least from what I know. And the fact that I don't know for sure tells me that they've not marketed it very well.
Well, it tells you, if nothing else, that there's not a big enough star for you to remember.
Yep. We did do a trailer. It was definitely a trailer we did.
We did a trailer,
yeah. So I don't know. Again, it's kind of weird.
You might get in some kids, for, the parents taking the kids for their horror movie thing, in the same way that like you do occasionally see House with a Clock in Its Walls did all right.
I want to say it'll be lower than Bad Times, but I don't think it will be. I'm going to go with 28.
I think it'll be very similar. I'm going to go 21.
You go with 21. That's going to end up in a very healthy box office overall of all 4 of these.
I think it could be a pretty reasonable spread, yeah.
All right, First Man then. More of your heady drama. You got star power, of course, but it's definitely more of an adult's film. Not an adult film, but an adult's film.
Yeah. I think this is bigger than the others. I think it's got a bit of marketing campaign, if nothing else. You've got, coming off of, from La La Land, you're using that, which is obviously a big film. I think it does a pretty reasonable 35.
35?
Yeah.
So you're saying that's going to be number 1? You think that's going to be number 1 next weekend?
I do. Unless there's something else that we're going to guess that I'm not remembering.
No, there's nothing else. I don't think it's going to do that big. I don't feel like these types of movies... I think La La Land did better than perhaps like most Oscar...
Yeah.
I don't want to call it Oscar bait, but like a movie that's... there's going to be like possible director and actor nods for this movie. It feels like one of those. I feel like it's going... I actually think it may be lower than Goosebumps, and it could even be lower than Bad Times at El Royale. I am going to go... I can see it being similar to Bad Times at El Royale. I can see it being in that range.
Maybe. I think a lot of this is just anecdotal, what I'm seeing in terms of marketing. I think Goosebumps has had very little marketing, but it has brand name, like we said. El Royale, I haven't seen a lot of marketing for it. I think it's, I'm looking forward to the movie, but I've not seen loads of buzz or trailers or anything. Whereas First Man, I'm seeing on the sides of buses. I'm seeing all over the place.
I actually wrote down 20 and then scribbled it out. I'm going to go 18.
For First Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's going to be closer to half of what you guessed than.
That's fair. I'll be honest. This is another one where I'm probably being optimistic because I want it to be good.
Yeah, you can't predict with your heart.
Yeah, but
That's not what we do here.
I think one
We
of us
can't.
should.
We can't.
Well, I always do. So that's why you got 23 million for Venom 2 weeks in a row.
As you do. I'm just reopening my news
This is
document.
shoddy lack of preparation.
No, there was preparation, and everything burned down, and then I had to open everything back
And you
up.
didn't re-prepare.
Shut up. Shut up. I was engaged in getting things moving at a reasonable rate, but we're back on the ball here. So that takes us on to news. We start with comic book movie news as we typically do. First up, Chris Evans put a little kind of almost goodbye letter on Instagram this week because he finished filming Avengers 4. His part was wrapped up, and he put a little. He doesn't outright say that he's done, but it sounds like he's done. It sounds like, hey,
I don't know why this is news. Before the last Avengers movie came out, he was very open and said, "Yeah, no, I'm not
No, he
renewing my
did.
contract."
No, he did. No, this is not surprising in any way. I'm not trying to play it off as surprising.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of places report it as shocking and like going for the clickbait, and I'm like,
All
but
right,
it's
no.
not.
No, it's as it's expected, but this is for me. It's just confirmation that he's actually done, and it also obviously leads to a lot of speculation as to, oh, does he die? Does Cap die in Avengers 4? Is that what's going to happen?
Cap's already dead. I love the idea that there's some people who haven't seen it and have no idea if that's spoilers or not.
And everyone who has is not even remotely mad because they know it's bullshit. So yeah, no, I thought it was worth mentioning that he's saying his goodbyes. I'll be interested to see how many other the original lineup kind of leave. Not Black Widow because we've got a movie for her in the works, so she's at least around for one more.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, I thought it was worth mentioning. Speaking of Marvel Studios, though, there was also reports this week. This came from the hashtag show, which I'm not particularly familiar with. Now, it's worth mentioning here that this is not necessarily huge news in the sense that Marvel have commissioned many scripts for many plot ideas and stories that they've not actually done. So this doesn't necessarily mean that they're going in this direction. But they have commissioned a script for Dark Avengers, which, if you're not familiar with, it was the aftermath of Secret Invasion, where a bunch of villains, almost in a Suicide Squad-esque kind of thing, became like versions of the heroes. So you had Norman Osborn as Iron Patriot, which is essentially the armor that War Machine wore in Iron Man 2, and he was the leader of the team. And you had some other villains. I think Venom was there. He was the Spider-Man villain, and so on. I think Bullseye became the new Hawkeye, or whatever the dark version of Hawkeye was called, which makes a lot of sense actually. So that's actually on point.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird to steal it from another hero. Like, oh, I'm going to steal your villain, right?
It's the same with Norman Osborn. It's not like he's an Iron Man villain.
That's true. You know what? I just, in my head, I was like, yeah, he's filling the Spider-Man slot. I just ignored Venom.
So there's potential here. I think it did develop into more of a Suicide Squad thing, where it wasn't so much they had bombs in their necks, but I think they were getting like time off their sentences or whatever to go on missions and do things and whatnot. So maybe they want their own Suicide Squad with Dark Avengers. They don't really have Norman Osborn. They're connected to Spider-Man right now. They could get Norman Osborn, but
Yeah, but you gotta build to Norman Osborn. You
Yeah.
can't just go, yeah, okay, well, we're gonna throw him into Dark Avengers, but not have him in a Spidey movie first.
exactly, he has to be around and established. Absolutely. So,
Who do you use for this, actually? No, serious question, because so many of the Marvel villains die at the end of the movie.
Justin Hammer's the Iron Man.
Sure.
Get him back! Come on, let's bring Rockwell back. He can carry it.
Yeah, he could.
He went to prison. He
But-
develops tech.
I'm not misremembering that a lot of them die, right?
No, you're not. Assuming some deaths stick from Infinity War, because there's an obvious candidate to take over Thor's role, but technically that's not a possibility anymore.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I get. Do you count Winter Soldier as like the kind of villain taking over Cap's role? Maybe.
No, I think that undermines because if you throw him
Yeah,
on this team, that undermines any growth.
yeah, that's true. I guess you just build towards it from here. They set, I mean, I assume this is not the next movie after Avengers 4. They spend a couple of years building up other
Yeah,
characters
yeah.
before we get to it. I'm
That's
serious
that's
though.
fair.
Justin Hammer is the Iron Man. I'm serious. I'm on it. They never killed
Yeah.
Whiplash, I don't think. Oh no, no, I did.
Oh, they
There
did.
was an explosion. Yeah, no, they did. Yeah. Well, Spider-Man's not been killing his villains, so he's, we got Michael Keaton. He can show up.
He's all locked up.
They can get him out of prison if they're
Oh, okay. I'm saying I was agreeing that he's
yeah.
not dead. He's locked up.
Nacho from Breaking Bad was in there as well.
Yeah. Who was he meant to be again? Because he was definitely someone.
Scorpion was it?
Yeah, it was one of the animal ones,
Yeah.
right? Scorpion. I know.
I think they were building him up for the second one because he only has a small part in the first one. Anyway, so worth mentioning that that's a possible direction they may be going in as we get a Dark Avengers movie in Phase 4 somewhere. So somewhere in between the new X-Men movies that they're probably going to be doing. So next up, 20th Century Fox. We talked about this last week about the Deadpool PG-13, the version of Deadpool 2 that's going to bring back Fred Savage to redo his role from oh god. Oh, I can't remember what movie he's redoing his role from now.
I know we spoke about it.
Yeah.
It was a whole week ago.
But Fred Savage is back. But the news here we've got this week is the title apparently has been leaked. It's not just going to be called Deadpool 2 like PG edition or Deadpool 2.
Obviously not. That wouldn't fit the marketing.
Nah. It's called The Deadpool Before Christmas.
It's good.
It's amazing. I'll give them that.
No matter your feelings on the Deadpool movies, their marketing team is sublime.
Typically, they're pretty good at the marketing. They are indeed. Stripping over to DC for a brief thing. We got another bit of Birds of Prey casting. Rosie Perez has been cast as Renee Montoya in the movie. Surprising, just slightly in the sense that she's a much older actress than I would have predicted. I think anyone would have predicted being cast in that role because Renee Montoya in the comics typically is, early 30s or whatever. Yeah. But this actress is in her 50s, so they're going for an older Montoya, which is fine. But it's not what we expected because we've never seen it like that before.
Yeah.
So, but now that cast is shaping up, so them telling me it's coming out in February 2020, I'm starting to almost believe that that's happening. We're getting there.
I'll believe it when I see a trailer. And even then, X-Men's, dicked me around too many times now that I don't even believe their dates.
To be fair, that is a Fox problem. That is not anyone else. That is just Fox that are guilty of this.
No, it is. But it's ruined it for everyone.
True. Next up, here's something. So we've been joking that Spawn movie that Todd McFarlane's doing might never see the light of day. Apparently, it's definitely happening because they're actually in production right now. They're making it right now. It's happening.
What?
Todd McFarlane's directing a Spawn movie.
Yeah, but when did this start happening? Like, for real?
I don't know. They shouldn't know. But the news here is at New York Comic Con, he came out and said that it's the first one in a trilogy that he's planning.
Of course it is.
So, don't get me wrong, I'll laugh a little bit in him assuming that the first one will do well enough that he can get all three movies. But at the same time, I was laughing at him thinking that this one would ever actually happen. So, to be fair, he's actually gotten further than I thought he would. So, go for it.
Yeah, 1-0 Todd, right?
Yeah, go for it, Todd. You can do it. You can do it, buddy. So Jamie Foxx is playing Spawn, for the record, if you've forgotten that.
Yeah.
So he's got a proper star. So that's the thing. All right, that's actually comic book news. There was a few things there, but it was quite a light week. Just a few small things.
Yeah, it's surprisingly light given that we had New York Comic Con.
Do you know what I think it is? I think New York Comic Con tends to have more comic book and TV news, and I think it's the TV news because the TV shows are all about to start become New York Comic Con. San Diego Comic Con is more movie focused, and it does have some TV stuff, of course, because they're usually just prepping the new season at that point.
Yeah.
But
a little disappointing not to get some more Hellboy stuff, for example, because we got a poster.
Yeah, we got posters, they had a panel, but no trailer.
Up till last week, we were expecting Hellboy in January, and now it's April. I want to say
April. Oh, I've got an update on that in a minute, actually. In fact, the very next story, the first story in our general section is...
What a hell of a segue. Why is that not in comic book news?
Because it's not actually a Hellboy story, but it affects Hellboy.
Okay.
because last week Hellboy got pushed to April, what's it, 12th, 2019.
Sounds familiar.
And the reason why that's notable is because I said last week, oh, that's the same day as the Doctor Dolittle movie. Not anymore. The Voyage of Doctor Dolittle has been pushed all the way from April 2019 to January 17th, 2020.
Holy shit, that's a delay.
They're claiming, or at least all the scuttlebutt online, is that this is actually less to do with, like, I'm sure they're reshooting things anyway, but it's more to do with how much better December, January is becoming for kids' movies due to Jumanji and things like that. They're eyeing up that time period for that
No,
reason.
it makes sense for me because obviously traditionally they throw them out in the summer because, hey, kids are off at summer. But do you know what else they're doing in the summer? Being outside in the hot weather.
And doing things.
Yeah. Whereas Christmas holidays, which, you get a few weeks off, again, they're off, and then they're like, well, it's cold. We don't want to go outside and do shit, so cinema.
They also, I think one of the things was that apparently, like, it's becoming a really good time for the international movies. Like, apparently winter break for other countries is also very profitable for movies. So it seems like they're going for that kind of slot. So that's the main reason for it. But interesting though, it means Hellboy's got that day to itself now.
It can reign supreme.
It is 1 week after Shazam, so it does have a bit of fight there, but
very different sort of movie, though, isn't it?
Well, so was Doctor Dolittle.
I should.
To be fair,
it's true. Yeah,
but it's better than it was. There's less competition is a good thing. Because I would actually like this Hellboy movie to be good, and I would actually like it to do well if it is good. So
yeah, I've been reading some Hellboy recently.
I've read the first story before, but that's about it. Are you reading the omnibuses, or are you reading the
omnibuses? There's a sale on Comixology right now for 50% off Dark Horse books.
Yeah, all the other versions are all 50% off as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but it just seemed easier to buy the omnis.
I just like the idea of reading it in publication order instead of like going back and...
Yeah, but even the trades aren't all publication order.
Okay.
Like, there's short stories and things and like little bits that they just throw in where it fits for the story, even in the trades.
Okay.
So I thought, screw it, I'm never going to do that unless I do all the single issues.
Well, I've already bought like a few of the old trades, so I'm not switching. I'm sticking to the original trades.
It was not too much of an investment to just sink it on all 6 of those omnis in one go.
You bought all 6?
Yeah, there's the 4 main ones and the 2 short stories. I thought, screw it, I'm going all in.
You madman. Dark Horse have sales every couple of months. You didn't have to get them all in one go.
Yeah, but I'll be honest. The main reason is I wanted something to read when I'm away next week.
I like what I read. I like what I read way more than I liked the 2 movies that we had before. So
I still like those movies.
You have to admit though, there's way more atmosphere in that comic book than there is in those movies.
Sure. But the second one in particular isn't even trying anymore. It's not trying to do that atmosphere. It's doing urban fantasy, which is why I really like it.
Yeah, I don't like that though.
yeah, I love that. Whereas the first one I still think it's a pretty decent movie, but it's definitely trying to go for that same sort of atmosphere, just not getting there.
No, I'm glad they're saying this one skews more horror because that's what I want from it.
I want this to be good as well.
Anyway, moving on. We mentioned Chris Evans earlier in the comic book section. He has now joined a film we talked about last week. He has joined Daniel Craig in the murder mystery movie directed by Rian Johnson, Knives Out. This is the one that he was comparing to your Agatha Christie and your whodunits, your murder mystery in a mansion kind of thing. Other than that, they've been very coy about what the movie's actually about. But I mean, it'll have a location. There'll be a murder.
Yeah, we'll get more when we get a trailer.
Yeah. So Evans is in that. So a bit of a cast shaping up for that one. They also mentioned it's shooting before Bond 25, so this one's sneaking in before that.
That makes sense. It feels like a much smaller movie in terms of the time.
Next up, so we're about some various casting things here. Armie Hammer's been cast as the male lead on Death in the Nile. He joins Gal Gadot. This is the sequel to Murder on the Orient Express. So this is the also Kenneth Branagh directed and starring.
Is he still directing? Okay.
Yeah. So as I think it is, let me just double check this. Fox Iron mid-2019 production, and it's coming out December 2019. So they're actually shooting it in the middle of 2019, releasing it by the end. So they're kind of a
makes sense. They're pretty small-scale movies.
Yeah. Branagh's directing again. Yeah, directing and starring.
Cool. I haven't seen Orient Express yet. It's something that's on the list, but I'm a big Branagh fan. So
it's painfully okay.
Yeah, but you would think that.
It's painfully okay. I didn't grab him. He's got a great cast. It's he's doing his best. I just don't know the story, and it's not really his fault. The story's it wasn't that much up to much in the end, but
yeah,
that's Agatha Christie's fault.
Throwing shade.
I mean, maybe a different take on it. I've not seen the 74 one, and I like the director Sidney Lumet who did that, so I might like that one more. I don't know, but yeah. So moving on, Rose Byrne has been cast for a voice role in a sci-fi thriller called I Am Mother. She's going to play the titular mother, which is a robot. So she's going to voice a robot. The story follows a lonely teenage girl, a daughter named Rugard. Played by Clara Rugard, rather, who is the first of a new generation of humans raised by Mother, played by Byrne, a kindly robot designed to repopulate the Earth following the extinction of mankind. But their unique bond is threatened when a blood-drenched woman, played by Hilary Swank, inexplicably arrives, calling into question everything daughter has been told about the outside world and Mother's intentions.
Okay, sounds kind of cool.
I'm into it. I'm getting like a mix of Z for Zachary and like Moon, maybe, like a mix of because Z for Zachary doesn't have the robot side of it, but it has the post-apocalypse people on their own. Outsider comes in. You mix that with a bit of Moon, where you get the computer. I'm getting like a mix of these things, and I didn't like the movie Z for Zachary that much. I thought it was kind of bland, and it removed the most interesting parts of the book and turned it into a love triangle, which, by the way, didn't even exist in the book because there wasn't a third character.
Oh, look at you! It's like one of the 3 books you've read. Clearly,
I've read more than 3. Give me peace. I just don't read that often.
You can tell when one of the rare movies that where it's a book you have read. Because you'll make sure to mention it.
Well, I wasn't making sure to mention it. I was voicing my disappointment at the butchering it. Do you know the funny thing is though? It's when it comes to reading novels for me, like I wish I read more, and I'd like to, time permitting. But whenever I have free time to do something, because I'm so invested in keeping up with movies and comics and stuff like that, I always just do one of those instead. That's basically it. I'm in the shallow end with the novel reading too much now to dive in.
I've been working through some Lovecraft this month. I have a big collection of his stories. Just been trying to read one a day because they're mostly pretty short, or they are early on in the book. They get longer as it goes.
Have you noticed any blatant homophobia in these writings as of yet?
Not in the early ones. Because they're mostly just one character kind of narrating an event that happened, somewhere they visited.
Yeah, because he's pretty notorious for his thoughts on that matter. But I would like to read something like Lovecraft. I do, despite his faults as a person. His horror is very cerebral. Yeah, but but yeah. So that sounds interesting. So this is called I Am Mother. So we'll see where that goes. Next up, Ansel Elgort from Baby Driver has been cast in the role of Tony. I assume if you know the movie, you'll know who that is. In West Side Story, the Spielberg remake.
From one musical to another,
I guess.
Baby Driver is a musical, as far as I'm concerned. Sure. They might not sing, but it is a musical.
Sure.
I'm cool with this though.
I have no opinion on this whatsoever. I don't care.
What I like most about this news is that it tells me that this project is going to happen. Because obviously there was a time where it was this project or maybe this one for Spielberg. We had 3 or 4 options, and this was one of them. If we're getting casting now, it feels like okay, this is the one that we're going to get next.
Yeah. Malcolm McDowell's been tapped to play Rupert Murdoch in the Roger Ailes movie that Anna Paruna's doing. So he's joining Nicole Kidman, John Lithgow, Kate McKinnon, Margot Robbie, and Charlize Theron.
Christ almighty, what a cast.
That is a hell of a cast.
McDowell's, he's a great actor. That's a good grab. And then you stack it up against all those other names. I'm like, okay, he's just in line with everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, damn. That one's going for Oscars next year.
That is such Oscar bait.
It's so going for Oscars. We're getting like 4 supporting noms out of that alone.
Yeah.
Next up, Michael Pena has been cast in the iconic role of Mr. Rourke in the Fantasy Island adaptation that Jeff Wadlow is doing for Blumhouse. He did Truth or Dare though, so I'm not excited based on what he directed before. But so Peter's going to take on this role. This was Ricardo Montalban's role on the TV show. He runs the island, the titular Fantasy Island. So
cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm still not. I mean, as much as I could see this like veering more towards horror because it's Blumhouse, I'm not getting that from Pina being cast. I feel like we're going more jokey with this.
Yeah, unless he's wanting to stretch his legs.
Yeah, but he's very good at the humor, which is why I feel like that's what they're doing here.
Probably that's why you get him as a lead, essentially to anchor that, right?
Yeah. Next up, we're now getting buzz of a Barbie movie coming from Warner Brothers. There was one in development at Sony for a long time. Anne Hathaway was attached to it earlier this year. She's left. Before her, Amy Schumer was attached to one, which was also, I think, written differently to fit her because it was going to be a different sense of humour because she was in the lead role. Now, Margot Robbie's attached to a Barbie movie at Warner Brothers, and nothing's official yet. It's still kind of gestating, but this is where we are.
Out of the three, I like this one the most.
It definitely feels like it'll be the most Barbie-esque, I guess. You know, like Margot Robbie's kind of like the embodiment of the attractive blonde woman, right? Like that's Barbie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. Obviously Amy Schumer's take was going to be a lot more jokey and a lot more satirical. That was the one
where I'm not really a big fan of her. So that was one where I was like, no, I'm never going to watch that.
Anne Hathaway is good though. I could have seen the Anne Hathaway version.
Yeah,
working.
I could have seen that one as well.
It depends what this is though. Like, I don't know. Like, is this a movie for kids, for fans of Barbie, or is this something that's going to be more of an adult look at what Barbie is?
Yeah, is it live action?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's not Warner Bros. Animation or anything like that.
Just Warner Bros. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
She's not signed yet. It's worth to mention she's not signed on yet, but this is the scuttlebutt.
It's something that I'm interested in hearing just to see what it is.
Yeah, because it could just be like a light-hearted thing for kids where it's really jokey and dumb humor, and that'll be fine for the kids, whatever. Obviously, we don't care about that. But if it does something else with it, if it does commentary on toys and commercialism and how little girls are supposed to see themselves, and if it did something with it, we could make a movie out of it, right?
Yeah.
Next up, speaking of movies based on things, a live-action Mega Man film is in development at 20th Century Fox.
Why not?
Capcom is working with Sherman Entertainment and Masaoka on the adaptation. Catfish's Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman are signed on to write and direct it. So we got some talent there working on it. Wasn't Catfish... Was Catfish the movie a documentary, or was it fictional?
I think it was maybe a bit of both.
Because I know there's a TV show that kind of took what it was about and it was more of a reality show after that, but I don't know if the movie was...
Yeah, I'm not actually sure, because I never watched it.
No, the ending was spoiled for me, and I just was like, okay.
Let me have a quick look. See.
And it can't not be spoiled for you, because now catfishing's a thing. When you say catfishing, you know what that means.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a... It's IMDb has it listed as documentary drama mystery, so kind of... I don't know if it's just in the style of a documentary.
Yeah, fake documentary, or if it's a documentary with reenactments and things like that spliced in.
Is this where did they create the term catfishing, or was it around before this?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I had never heard of it until this movie came out, and this movie made it a thing for me. But it could have existed.
It's one of those things where it was so long ago now, and the concept of catfishing is so ingrained in internet culture.
Because they brought it up. I first heard about it because they brought it up on Community, and they brought it up that someone had the ending spoiled for them, and that's where I first heard the term. But that's, I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's fair.
Where it started, or if it was a thing.
Or if they just picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mega Man 11 just came out, the video game, so Mega Man's riding high.
This is cool. I like Mega Man.
I appreciate Mega Man. I respect Mega Man. Whenever I've tried to play Mega Man, having not played it as a kid, I just don't have the patience for it.
I get that. It's one of those.
Yeah, no nostalgia for it. I can go back and play Sonic 2 or Streets of Rage any time, but whenever I go back and try to play another like 2D like game that was difficult from that era, it's just like, nah, I don't have the patience to get good at this.
Yeah, I do want to play the new one. I'll probably grab it for the Switch at some point.
There's a demo if you want to give
Yeah,
it a try. By the way, we're starting a monthly gaming podcast starting later this month, the month of October.
I figured you were going to do that at the end, but as we tangented, why not?
Yeah, I was going to do it at the end, but since we were talking about games for a second,
It's not even that much of a tangent when it's a game-based story.
Yeah, but
we're kind of okay.
It'll basically just be a game news version of this monthly, and we'll talk about what we've been playing. So it's just a gaming podcast, basically. Called 1080 Bits. Coming at the end of the month. Patrons will get it 3 days early. That's all you need to know. I'll remind you at the end. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on. Maggie Gyllenhaal has teamed with Pie Films. What a name. Pie Films. I approve of this name. For the record, it's PIE. It's proper pie. It's like your mathematician's pie.
Depends what kind of pie.
Oh, sure. There's good pies, there's bad pies, there's lots of kind of pies. But they're teaming up to get the rights to Elena Ferrante's novel The Lost Daughter, which Gyllenhaal will write, produce, and make her directorial debut.
Okay.
Which is funny because a character on The Deuce is also trying to get into directing. I just think that's really funny that she's...
Yes.
Life imitates art.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. The Lost Daughter follows Lida, who, while on holiday by the sea, experiences a seemingly meaningless event that causes her to be overwhelmed by memories of the difficult and unconventional choices she made as a mother and their consequences for herself and her family. What begins as an apparently serene tale of a woman's pleasant rediscovery of herself soon becomes a ferocious psychological thriller about the confrontation of an unsettled past. That got more interesting as it went along.
It did, and what's interesting to me is it feels like that needs strong direction.
It does
to make that work.
Because I wonder, like, how much of a threat is there in present day to make it a thriller, or is it just about her revisiting places or revisiting her memories and coming to terms with them? I'm not sure. It's very vague. Obviously, the book exists, so you could go read it if you wanted to and find out. But I'm intrigued. I'm also intrigued to see what Gyllenhaal can do as a director. She's a fantastic actress, so I don't doubt that. Especially if the big part of this is the performance of the lead. I'm sure she'll direct that well.
Somehow she's still underrated.
She is. And I've loved Gyllenhaal ever since I saw Secretary back in, like, that came out in like 2002.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And she was fantastic in that. What I think is really funny about getting back and watching that, because that's a movie about her working for James Spader as this boss, and it's basically a movie about how she discovers her own sexual fetish and how he's kind of dominant and she sort of grows to like that. What's really funny though is that his name in that movie is Mr. Grey. So years later, going back and rewatching that a couple of years ago when 50 Shades of Grey existed, I was like, those bastards, they basically just stole the name.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was fanfic anyway, and it's like the one thing you had to do was change the name. That was it. And you couldn't even be original for that.
Yep, you and it may be an accident, it really all could be, but it's so coincidental if it is.
It's just, if it had just been, any other movie, coincidence, sure, it's Grey, common enough name. It's not unique. But when it's a movie on the same topic.
Yes, but done much better, might I add, than 50 Shades of Grey ever did.
We assume.
I've never seen it, but I have heard like extracts of just like paragraphs here or there of the book, and it sounds atrocious just from like snippets.
Yeah, and I assume the movie is equally awful.
You would assume. So yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal making her directorial debut. It should be interesting. Pumped to find out how that is. Next up, Michelle Williams is set to star as Krista McAuliffe. I feel bad here because this is a real person who died in the 80s. Krista McAuliffe. Yeah, McAuliffe. I'll go with that. Krista McAuliffe. She was on The Challenger in 1986 when it blew up, basically. The film's called The Challenger. And she's going to play this character. It's something of a biopic about her. She was a teacher. The Challenger follows the true story of McAuliffe. It's probably McAuliffe. Yeah, that sounds right. McAuliffe. Never encountered this name before, clearly. She was a New Hampshire high school teacher who was selected to join NASA's Teacher in Space project. She eventually became part of the astronaut crew on the Space Shuttle Challenger, which launched from Cape Canaveral on January 28, 1986. The shuttle exploded 73 seconds after takeoff on live TV, killing all 7 on board. So, obviously it'll have a really sad ending. That's the big thing you get from this right away. But yeah, so they're going to look into making a movie of this. They're going to shoot this next year in 2019.
Cool.
Yeah. I can see it being an interesting story. It's definitely going to be a very sad story. I'm glad it's this long after. This is the sort of thing where if they were making this and it only happened like 2 or 3 years ago, I'd be like, really, we're going to exploit this now for art reasons. But it's been such a long time now that I mean, arguably, you should wait until all the family members are are gone as well, just so no one's feeling awkward about it. But
yeah, it's never going to happen though, is it?
well, it can happen.
It can, but not anymore.
It absolutely can. There'll be some that just slip through the cracks and no one thinks about making them. I'm not saying it'll happen because people decide not to do it. I'm saying some will just not happen because no one thinks of it until it's been long enough that...
I mean, fair enough. But I feel like nowadays it happens and there's someone going, I can see the movie.
Yeah, no, that's true. But hey, yeah, Michelle Williams is pretty good. So she's looking to do something a bit more proper after Venom. And this also sounds like something that could potentially be Oscar material, at least for her performance. I could see it. I could totally see it. So yeah, so that's The Challenger. Good name. That's a good name for that movie.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's got double meaning, both the ship and her. So you know.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, I'm just pointing it out. I'm just pointing out why it's good. Anyway, next up, 20th Century Fox has optioned the New York Times best-selling series Spy School by Stuart Gibbs and set the author attached to write the screenplay based on the first title in the series. You heard of this before?
No, don't think so. What's the first title? Is the first one just called Spy School?
No idea. It doesn't tell us what the titles are for the individual books.
Oh, okay.
But Spy School follows middle schooler Ben Ripley, who dreams of becoming a CIA agent. Even though he is awkward and accident-prone, he is brilliant and recruited for a magnet school with a focus on science that actually is a front for Junior CIA Academy. Ben finds out that he was admitted due to a case of mistaken identity. Oh, so it's the good life, but CIA. But he doesn't let this stop him from trying to morph into an undercover agent. So it's the good life, but CIA. Through a series of zany misadventures, Ben realizes that he actually might make a halfway decent spy if he can survive all the attempts being made on his life. Sounds like a kid's adventure.
I feel it. I'm getting deja vu, especially with the spy school part. Like maybe I do know what this is, and that's why I'm getting deja vu. I'm just gonna, but the concept of it's secretly a recruiting ground for spies with the schools.
Yeah,
I've seen that somewhere.
But are they invisible?
Probably not.
Okay, so it's not the same spy school from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Nah.
That was brought up in episode 11, Out of Mind, Out of Sight, from season 1, and then never mentioned again, even though they clearly seeded a cliffhanger where there's this secret spy school full of invisible assassins.
Yeah, it's not what I'm thinking of.
I see this as more of a kid movie rather than something that we'd watch, but
I know what I'm thinking of. It's alright. I'm thinking of Chuck.
Ah.
Yeah. That's okay. I got there.
Dealing with cats. Next up, Jon Stewart, host of The Daily Show, or former host of The Daily Show, I should say, will return to directing with a film called Irresistible, a political satire based on his original idea with Steve Carell at the top of the choice to star in it. He previously directed Rosewater. I'm glad it told me this because I was like, he directs movies? What?
Yeah.
That's new to me. That came out in 2014. He took time off from The Daily Show at the time to direct it before he left the show for good in 2015. So it's in the early stages. There's no word on what the actual plot is, but I just thought it was notable that Jon Stewart's making a movie.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
There you go. That takes us on to the horror section. Cool. The horror stuff this week. First up, New Line has hired Michael Chavez to direct The Conjuring 3.
Interesting.
Which is, and it's not that I have anything against this Mr. Chavez. I'm sure he's a fine gentleman, but the big thing this tells me is that James Wan is not directing The Conjuring 3.
Yes, which presumably means he's done with the universe now. He's moving on.
He's still producing them all. He's still making money from them all. But yeah,
but in the same way that he does Insidious and Saw, right?
Yeah, he's like a bigger things. He's doing AAA blockbusters now. He ain't doing these wee movies.
Do we know what he's doing after Aquaman?
I don't think so. I don't remember if we do.
I don't remember anything either, but
yeah, he actually made his directorial debut with a film that's not coming out until April, which is also for New Line.
Confidence then.
Yeah, they're obviously confident in what he's done. It's coming out on April 19th. It's called The Curse of La Llorona, which I remember talking about actually at some point. I remember that
Yeah,
name.
it makes me more confident in that movie as well. If
Mm.
they're going, no, we're so confident in this movie that's 6-8 months out.
Which is a good sign. It's a good sign because every other movie in this Conjuring universe that's not been directed by James Wan has been at best mediocre, if not outright terrible.
Yeah.
So hopefully this bucks that trend, and he's actually up
If we
to
can
up to
if we can at
snuff.
least keep the main installations being pretty good,
You
I'll
mean
be
you
happy.
mean installments?
Both work.
Sure, okay. Just felt like a weird sentence. So yeah, it is the same writer as Conjuring 2. David Leslie Johnson is going to write the script. So same writer. That's also a decent sign.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I really like Conjuring 1 and 2, especially 2. I thought 2 really just had fun with the insanity of it, and I appreciated that. So
Mm. I think one of the things I really liked about 2 was it was a different setting for most horror movies.
it was, yeah, very different setting, and I also liked that it had more of a heart. Like, there was actually like a core arc between the married couple that actually gave it this weight. Like most horror movies don't have a heart. This one did. It was kind of sweet by the
No.
end.
And that's okay for most horror movies. Most horror movies don't need a heart.
That's true, but this made it a bit different. And it kind of, instead of having to make this be the scariest thing ever, it just had fun with the different monsters, it had fun with some jump scares, and it had fun with the characters. Um,
Yeah.
there's a scene in this movie where Patrick Wilson, sings an Elvis song with a guitar for like 2 minutes. It's a fine little scene, and I'm like, most horror movies don't get away with this. I'd just be annoyed by
No.
this in other movies, but
You'd be like, get back to the slashing.
but he's looking back over at his wife, and I'm like, no, I care about these two. I actually care about these two getting through this. So,
Yeah.
points where points are due. Next up, Emily Mortimer, Robin Nevin, and Bella Heathcote have all been set to star in Relic, which is going to be the directorial debut of Natalie Erica James. The film is produced by Carver Films, Anna McLeish and Sarah Shaw, along with 9 Stories, Jake Gyllenhaal and Revan Marker. Actually, I left all the producers in here because a lot of noble names. Jake Gyllenhaal was there, and the executive producers include the Russo brothers, with their company AJBO being involved. So there's a lot of notable names in the producer list for this one.
A lot of faith going on in a first-time director.
Yeah. The film, written by James and Christian White, centres on 3 generations of women, daughter, mother and grandmother, haunted by a manifestation of age dementia that takes over their family home. The plot was inspired with James' experience with Alzheimer's disease within her own family. At its core, it explores the fear and heartbreak of dementia and aging through the horror lens. Which is actually the most promising thing about that, because the first half of that, I'm like, oh, it's another supernatural movie with a ghost or demon, whatever. Because I'm kind of sick of those at this point. We've had so many of them in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That last part, though, where it sounds like, no, she wants to make the film actually be about something, where it represents something, that interests me.
Those are often the best horror movies.
Yes, they often are. So, if she's up to snuff with her directing skills and the script's good, I'm
have a nice little hit on our hands.
yeah, and Emily Mortimer's a relatively big actress to be in a small horror film.
Yeah, no, she is.
So
She's also very good. So
yeah, good. Which takes us on to our last horror movie story of the week, our last news story in general of the week, which is a Miramax horror thriller drama hybrid. So I don't know how much this veers into horror. We'll find out eventually, but they said horror.
this really should have been the segue into horror.
Shut up. I left it to the end though because this sounds intriguing. Now, the plot itself is being hush hush. They're being very secretive about the plot, but I'll tell you about it. So this is called The Perfection.
They're being secretive, but I'll tell you anyway.
No, I'll tell you other things, right?
No,
I'll tell
I know, but just the way you said that,
Sure.
That's how I came across.
So this is from Richard Shepard, who directed this. It's called The Perfection, and the news here is that Netflix has acquired the global rights, and they're going to release it next year. So it'll be easy to see, right? We'll be getting this next year. So it's starring Alison Williams, who was in Get Out and Girls, and it stars Logan Browning from Dear White People. That's Sam from Dear White People.
Yes.
The Perfection tells the story of 2 cello prodigies who reunite in Shanghai, and it concludes with a visual that has reportedly left audiences speechless. It's been playing at festivals
Sure.
recently. Reviews in the wake of its premiere have been spoiler conscious and mum on the details. The linear plot of The Perfection, written by Eric Charmello, Nicole Snyder, and Shepard, is not revealed to the audience until the final moments. So you don't understand what the movie's about until the very end.
Okay.
Which could be a mess, But if you pull it
There's
off,
there's two ways that can go. Is one, halfway through you're just like, I don't care what's going on, and then the ending, even if it's great, you're just checked out.
yeah, the buzz
Or
doesn't
it's
sound like that though. The buzz
yeah,
sounds like it works.
is if it's entertaining enough and it keeps you hooked in, even when you're not sure what's happening, or what the point is.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where if you tell me this and it's directed by David Lynch, I'll assume it's good because I know what he's like and I can trust that he can pull that off.
If you're along for the ride, you're okay waiting until the end. But if it loses you at any point, that ending loses all weight.
Yeah, so there's a risk here, and I as much as there's good buzz, I have nothing to go on. But I do like the cast, and if it pulls off what this is telling me that they've pulled off, I'll be into that. I'll really be into that. So we know it's two cellists, and they're meeting for a thing, but beyond that, what's the plot? What's the horror element? What they're doing? And again, that's a spoiler. Apparently, that's like no, you'll find out by the end.
Cool, they're the same person.
So it's a mind F.
Yeah.
Nah, it's not that. I'm going to say right now it's not that. That's too
No,
obvious.
I know it's not that. I just it was the first. That's why I said it was the first obvious thing that came to mind.
They're from different dimensions. They don't really know each other.
Yeah, it works.
They swapped bodies years ago. I don't know.
The cellos are possessed.
I hope it's not that. That's boring.
Depends what these possessed cellos do.
I mean, sure. But yeah, it's called The Perfection. So put it on the radar. Put it on the radar. And it'll be on Netflix, so it'll be easy for everyone to check out when it hits. So that is the news this week. That wraps up everything. Not been a super long show. Actually, surprisingly quieter week given that New York Comic Con was on, and you'd expect to hear a lot of news as we said at the start, but not. So what we do now is we talk about any movies we watched in the past week or so that weren't for review purposes, and given that it's October, I imagine that all 9 are going to be horror movies, and they are. I've only got 3 to talk about though. It's been kind of a busy week. I've not had enough time.
Because I've got words on this. Because last week I said to you after we finished, like, oh, I'm gonna have to sit through you going through about 1 million horror movies. Because obviously you'd been planned to just go all in. And you went, no, I got another idea. Hold on, I might do something else. And now here I am going to have to sit through hearing about horror movies.
Well, no, I was considering another idea. I might still do the other idea, but I don't feel like I've done enough yet to do the other idea. So
unacceptable. You should save these for the other idea. Because I've got nothing, and I just don't want to listen to you for 15 minutes.
First film I watched was called The Lodgers.
It was shit. We can move on.
Which came out this year. It was not very good. It was an Irish film. It was a supernatural film about this brother-sister have a really weird relationship, and there's like ghosts in the house or something. They're not allowed to leave because of the ghosts, and it's one of those films where about 5 minutes into it, I realised what this was going to be the entire time,
and then carried on watching it anyway.
Yeah, because I'm going to finish it and get my point for finishing it. Damn it!
5 minutes in is early enough to cut your loss.
I did not like it. I do not recommend it. Really, I thought it was tedious to sit through. Not very suspenseful. Characters were kind of weird. I was not into the story. The romance subplot was there. No. So the only notable thing for you is the first Doctor actor, obviously not the original one because he's long gone, but the newer
David
one.
Bradley.
There you go. He's in it. He had a small part.
I like David Bradley. Whenever he pops up, it's always fun.
Next up, I watched a film called The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane. This was a young Jodie Foster. I think it came out the same year as Taxi Driver, actually. But she's 13 in this, and she's living on her own. Her parents are not there, but she's trying to keep up appearances as if they are, so she's constantly lying. Martin Sheen's in this, and he is like this creepy. He's basically a paedophile. He's trying to like groom her and seduce her, and he's sort of slowly like honing in, and like when he catches that she's been lying, he kind of uses that against her. She's also got a bit of a weird romance with this other kid. It's kind of a weird movie. It's not a full-on horror movie. It's kind of one of these 70s movies where there's elements of horror here or there, but a lot of it's the build. A lot of it's the drama before the horror. Which feels very true at the time. I'm thinking things like Rosemary's Baby. I'm thinking things like, it's an interesting little movie. I don't know if I'd outright recommend it. It's just worth seeing for her performance, I think.
Sure.
But that's very interesting. The way she kind of plays off the adults and watches what she's saying and whatnot. But yeah, so it was okay. I didn't love it, but it wasn't bad. And then the other film I watched that I just watched yesterday was the original 1960 Village of the Damned. And I'll probably watch the remake actually this month as well. It's on the plans, the John Carpenter directed remake. But
got to get those points.
I do indeed. So this is about a town in England that mysteriously everyone in this small town falls asleep. And to the point where there's a literal barrier where someone at the edge of town sees like the policeman bike in, and he like just drops down after he goes over a certain line, and it's just like, this is weird, and like people at the perimeter, and they're like, what's going on? They're trying to figure it out, and everyone wakes up. They were out for maybe 12 hours, and then everyone just wakes up. There's a couple of accidents because people were driving and whatnot, but other than that, everything seems fine. Everything's back to normal. And then every woman in the town is pregnant, even the ones who have never had sex, right? Every woman who's within the age that they can give birth is pregnant, and it's kind of about the children that they all give birth to. It skips ahead a few years, and they might be alien, they might be whatever else, they might be dangerous.
It's aliens or demons.
Yeah,
it's one or the other.
But it's very Twilight Zone. It reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode, which is notable because at the time it would have been a couple of years old. This Twilight Zone episode.
Be hitting the zeitgeist of, oh, that's popular. Let's cash in.
But yeah, so these kids are kind of scary. It's very psychological with its horror. It's the sort of one where it's definitely horror and sci-fi, but I'd probably put it on the sci-fi shelf if I was picking.
But you gave yourself points anyway.
Well, yeah, it still counts. I mean, I'd put the Thing on the sci-fi shelf, but I'm still going to count that as a horror movie.
Not cheating yourself out of points now, are you?
No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Points are what's important. Points make the world go round.
I just want to say it's really sad to me that it's like the 8th of October as we're recording this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a quarter gone for October.
Yep.
I've not even started watching the movies yet.
Been busy.
I've watched one that we recorded for a review,
which wasn't a horror movie.
Or was it two? No, we just did one, didn't we?
Just one.
Yeah. And I actually snuck that in at the end of last month, so I'm on 0 for October.
I'm only on 3. I'm not doing well. I'm hoping that when you're on vacation and I have theoretically a bit more time, I can get through a few of them.
Time's kind of a bitch.
It is right now. It's very busy. Very busy. But yeah, so that's what Village of Damned I thought was good. It was probably the best of the 3. Not like I wouldn't say it's like an outright like classic that has to be seen, but I think if you like these types of movies, it's a solid watch. Solid like 7.5 kind of in that range.
And I think just as you wrapped up talking about a few different a variety of horror movies there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little time to promote. We did our episode of 121 Extra for Patreon.
That is a very good point, yeah.
And we did a discussion about horror movies and the evolution through the decades. And you kind of hit on it a little bit there. You mentioned what was typical for the 70s. That's that's part of that discussion. And we really in detail.
Yeah, you can get that on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV at the $1 tier. 121 Extra and Almost Cancelled Extra are monthly. They alternate between the two. Almost Cancelled is a TV topic. 121 Extra is a movie topic. And we just kind of sit down and talk about the topic. Just, so in this case it was, we're great October, let's talk about horror movies. We specifically focused on the evolution and how horror's changed over the decades. So you can get that for $1, and there's a few episodes now. There's two 121s and 2 Almost Cancels to check out if you want to go and support us over there. And obviously it's greatly appreciated. We love you loads if you do that. You can of course get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. We did mention that there's a new show coming, and if you're into video games, we're going to do a monthly games podcast called 1080-bit starting at the end of this month.
What we didn't mention, because it was in the original take that we lost, is the plan for next week.
That's right, yes. Which is, you don't have to concern yourself with it too much, but Connor is on vacation for a week, so next week there will be a movie news of sorts with just myself. There'll be a solo movie news, unless I can rope Matt into it, but Matt's moving house right now, so I doubt he's going to have time.
Yeah, like I said, stay away, folks. But you don't want to get into that.
No, shut up. It'll be a solid news outing. It's funny though. It's really annoying that your vacation, Matt moving house, and Tim getting married all happened within the same week or two. It's insane. Everyone's busy at the same time.
Complete coincidence.
Yeah, but on the upside, it means there shouldn't be any interruptions for a while after that.
Yeah, and for you, it means, hey, I got 2 weeks when no one's around. Let's watch horror movies.
Horror movies and video games. That's the plan. Yeah, pretty much. And of course, it's probably worth mentioning as well that we are in October, and that means that in terms of what's going up on the channel right now, in terms of movie reviews, is pretty big, because me and Tim recorded a lot of episodes for October, for the Octoberthon. And at the time of recording, there's already been 5 Screams After Midnight reviews have went up, not including any archive episodes. So we had the Rob Zombie Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 just went up today, and then on top of that you also have the original Reanimator, you have Chopping Mall, and you have the original Scream. I remember them all. You were checking there. You were like,
I was like, go on, see if we can get them.
Yeah, so they're all up. There's more coming every other day at least, so you can look forward to that. So that's cool. Also for Influx, publicly everyone got the last Godzilla movie we did, which was Godzilla versus Gigan. Patrons got the final of the Samurai trilogy, Samurai 3, Duel at Ganryu Island, so that'll be up for everyone else later in the week. It is worth mentioning that because of the vacation and because of the tight schedule, there will be a couple of weeks off of Influx. There won't be any movies for 2 weeks. There will, however...
That's Patreon first. Obviously, next week, yeah, the public will still have a movie. They'll get Samurai 3.
Oh, that's this week.
This week?
Yeah, well, it's Monday now. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'm still thinking of this as last week's episode.
So there'll be 2 weeks without an Influx. However, it is worth mentioning that we and Cara have been working our way through Star Trek, the original series, and we've finished that now. So we're doing the movies. So Star Trek, the motion picture, is going up for Patreon this week, and will be up for everyone else next week. We're hoping to get Star Trek 2 recorded before Cara's vacation. If not, there'll be a gap there as well. There will be a gap of at least 1 week anyway, but we're hoping to get one more movie recorded. If it doesn't, then it'll be another gap, just because of the vacation, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, it's part of where the vacation falls in the week. It kind of really conflicts with where our recording lines.
Yeah, so that's a thing. So apologies for the breaks, but on the upside, there are like 3 times as many streams after midnight. It's going up every week, so 4 times even.
Yeah, get a huge dose of Tim in you.
Yeah, so a lot of horror movie discussions, assuming you enjoy that. But yeah, so other than that though, business as usual, I think. So no, that is 121 movie news. So thank you very much for sticking around, and hopefully you enjoyed the show. Let us know what you thought. I think I said that already. So yeah, we're good. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching movies, guys, and we'll see you next time.